Okay, guys, I think we are now live. Good afternoon. Welcome along. We're going to be having some coffees and chatting business. Ryan, how are you, man?
Very good, thank you. Good to be back again. I've been excited about this one all week.
End of the week, eh? And today we've got another special guest coming in. So this is Jo Jensen from Strictly Savvy. Hey, Jo, how you going?
Hi, I'm really good. Yeah, excited to be chatting and catching up with you.
Yeah, well, now, okay, so a bit of background here. So Jo and I actually went to high school together. This is back in the good old days of Hamilton,
Yep.
Fairfield High School. Don't know whether many of you understand Fairfield or know much about Fairfield College in Hamilton, but that's kind of where we met, and we could probably share some very interesting stories here. But I don't think we'll do that.
maybe a late night edition or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, it's good to kind of connect. Obviously, going back to high school days, that's going back a fair whack now, and things have obviously changed for everyone, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Very different places and different places around the country, and yeah.
Exactly. So what we wanted to do today is kind of carry on some of the conversations we've been having recently, each week, and that's kind of just to meet new businesses and to kind of find businesses and how they've kind of been adapting to the lockdown and COVID-19 and things like that. And I think, Ryan, you can agree that we've kind of I guess even the two of us have kind of learned quite a bit from the people we've spoken to so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of the things that's kind of kept me going. Actually, is just the level of creativity and drive and a lot of enthusiasm that businesses have at the moment in these really trying times, and it's really uplifting. And I've really enjoyed all the conversations we've had. Actually.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, and Jo, yeah, it's really good to have you here today. I guess maybe even to start, just a bit of an intro, really, around Strictly Savvy. Now, obviously, you work with in the area of virtual assistants, and that's why I kind of thought that obviously Ryan and myself, we talk a lot around marketing, around digital marketing, and working online. So I kind of thought that would be an awesome thing to kind of have a look at and to see what virtual assistants are kind of like. So can you tell us just a little bit about Strictly Savvy and about virtual assistants in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So started the business 8 years ago. Back when virtual assistants weren't really that common or well known in New Zealand, but definitely, I think with a lot of entrepreneurs writing online and blogging, and seeing a lot more people talk about virtual assistants online all around the world, I think that's really boosting the virtual assistant industry and seeing a huge number of virtual assistants popping up all around the country and the world. So virtual assistants is essentially a scalable resource that allows a business owner to be freed up from admin, bookkeeping, that daily back office stuff, so that they can focus on their revenue generating activities. So with a team of 12 in New Zealand and then 5 global team members as well, we can offer all sorts of services, from executive assistants doing inbox and calendar management and scheduling to answering, inquiries and support messages for a business, through to bookkeeping and Xero, doing payroll. This is especially relevant now with all the wage subsidy issues coming through, and having a bookkeeper who can do your payroll means that you're getting those things right and people are getting paid the right things at the moment. And through to some creative services too, where we've got some graphic designers and photographers and stuff on the team. So yeah, a huge range of things that people can come to us. So it's really about freeing up a business owner's time so they can focus it where it's needed.
Nice. And I see on your website, award-winning as well. You've done pretty well down.
Yeah.
No, you're based in Wellington, obviously. We didn't mention that as well. You're based down the Hutt, aren't you?
Yeah, Upper Hutt. So yeah, lots of clients in the Wellington region, but we serve Auckland, Christchurch is 2 big sort of centres that we serve as well, with a few clients in each. But working remotely, it really doesn't matter where our clients are. We even have a client as far as the Philippines. We do work for a call centre where we actually do calls to the lines that they look after to make sure that they're answering them, how many rings it takes to answer, and doing a bit of a check of those lines. So that's pretty cool that we can provide services to somewhere as far-reaching as that.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. Really interesting. So, Strictly Savvy as a business, how have you guys kind of responded to the lockdown, or how are you planning on responding to entry into level 3? I guess level 4 and level 3, there's really not much of a difference for you guys. You've kind of just kept going, but just remotely, I'm guessing, from home.
Yeah. So when we knew that there was potentially going to be a lockdown, we had an office in Upper Hutt and a couple of contractors that lived, in other areas, but mainly all of my team here in New Zealand were in the office. So I made some really quick decisions early on because I knew that going into lockdown meant that a lot of our clients were no longer going to be trading. So we look after a lot of tradies and answer phones for like people who are booking in for physio and things like that. So those businesses were about to have zero revenue coming in. So I knew that I was going to lose quite a lot of revenue. And we ended up losing 70% of our ongoing service plan revenue. And that left us sort of with our casual and a couple of service plan clients. So what I did is I knew that I straight away had to try and cut out as many costs as possible. So we're on a month-by-month lease with the office, luckily. So we cancelled that. So we no longer have that. We reduced hours across the team temporarily. We got the wage subsidy. We reviewed our complete online presence.
Yeah.
So it's not really about cost cutting, but more like we wanted to appear and show people that we were still trading, available. Lockdown wasn't going to make any difference for us because we could just switch from an office to working from home. We had all the technology set up. So we had a look at our website. We put a fully operational notice on there. We changed the flavor and tone of our wording so that it was more focused around a scalable resource rather than freeing up time and things like that. So pinned a post, all that stuff to make our online presence say the right
thing. It's so
thing.
true. And I think that's one thing I've been trying to talk about as much as well, especially as we come into entering into level 3, is kind of reminding ourselves to go back and do all those jobs again, because I guess we all did it at lockdown. But as we enter level 3, what we do need to be doing is, like you say, thinking about the tone of the way they're actually marketing and talking to our customers. Also thinking about putting like that little ticker or something onto your website to kind of say whether you're trading and at what level. So for businesses, for example, that can start doing online delivery now or something like that, then they can obviously put that kind of info. And I know things like Google My Business, jumping in there and updating that profile and changing your COVID response in Google My Business and some of those small changes are, I guess they're going to really help as we're going to enter level 3, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. So I saw that Google My Business had popped that up. So chuck something in there as well. It's just so important for people not to have to assume or wonder when they get to your online presence, right? So someone like yourself who can just come in and do that across everything for someone is a really awesome service at the moment. It's really, really good.
And I guess it's just it's also just kind of knowing what kind of bits you kind of want to update and how you kind of communicate that. Because Ryan, of course, being in real estate as well, obviously you guys have kind of been in lockdown now. I understand level 3 for you guys, you're back in business from Tuesday morning, yeah?
Yeah, to a degree. And we could probably use that phrase business as unusual because there's going to be a lot of restrictions around what can be done. And I think, it's a good thing as well, because I don't see that there's any real need to rush back into things because we've got to get this right. And real estate's not really an essential service as per se, but it is good to be having that opportunity to get back. And we're going through that same thing at the moment. How do we communicate that with our customers as efficiently and effectively as possible? And also getting them the right information, because as you'll probably see for any industry or any business, there's about 102 different ways that people think you can actually do things at the moment. So making sure that you have all that stuff right, as it is at the government as well, is really important, I think.
Yeah, that's really true. That's really true. I guess, and there is so much to think about, and I guess that's where sometimes it can get really overwhelming. And even going back, Joe, to what you were saying before, you guys had to make some pretty drastic changes. Like if you were, obviously with your office space and stuff like that. So is that something that you're going to go back to, or are you trying to now transition into kind of more of a working from home basis, or how's that kind of working?
Yeah, so currently everyone is working from home, and it's sort of a bit up in the air at the moment as to what we'll do on a permanent basis. So some of my team members don't really have the setup or space at home to work from home, and they are really missing the in-person banter and everything that comes with being in an office, like with your team members. However, I think everyone's sort of in that groove now where it's not such a big deal as it was like in the beginning. So yeah, it's really up in the air as to what we'll do. And obviously we need to get our revenue right back up to 100% in.
Oh no, you've just cut out there, Jo. You're still there. Yeah, but it's really, I think she's just going to get her sound going again.
There we go.
Is that you? There we go.
Yeah, so up in the air, and we'll decide, once we get everything back to 100%. But we're definitely on the other side of that now. We can see that there's a lot of new clients coming on board with us. I've started moving some of my team members back up to 100%. We just needed everyone to sort of get their confidence back in business. I think that there's two things that is going to help the virtual assistant industry. And one is that people now who previously had the sort of limiting belief, I call it, that you had to have someone sitting in your office next to you for them to be able to do work, like be your assistant or, complete tasks for you. However, that's now completely thrown out the window because it's now been proven that businesses can still function by, working from home and being online if you're not, needing to serve people face to face. That's now out the window. And also, there are businesses who now will be a little more wary about hiring someone as an employee full time. So they are looking for other ways to bring resources in. Virtual assistants is a really great option for them because they can scale it up, scale it down. There's no real risk. And the speed of being able to hire a virtual assistant over an employee is, some of our clients can talk to us in the morning, sign our terms of engagement, and we can do the handover in the afternoon and start working for them.
Crazy.
It's just that fast. Whereas if you're hiring an employee, there's a lot more risk associated with that. And, it's a bigger decision. You need to get it right. You need to be doing reference checking. You need to, go through the process and interview and all sorts of things. So, I think it's going to be really good for the VA industry. And we're seeing that with the number of clients that we're bringing on just this week.
I think it's going to have like a real impact across across the board with all kind of digital stuff. Like you think about there is that real pattern now of everything kind of moving online and like websites and there's a couple of stores and retailers and things like that haven't had like a very good online presence, and suddenly they're having to think about how they can flip their current I guess buyer's journey into like this digital buyer's journey, which is a real interesting transition, but it is a lot to think about. But I do think, as you mentioned, that the industry in general is just going to change a lot with all these kind of digital products kind of coming out. It's kind of like even Zoom meetings are now like a normal thing. Zoom is going to like be like reference to how we talk about Skype, for example, right now. So it's going to be really, really interesting to kind of see how that kind of plays out. We've got a question from Haley here, just around tasks. Haley, you're a little bit late, but that's okay. We'll give you the time. We did talk a little bit around virtual assistant help. Yeah. So Jo, just again, just some of those key things that VAs can, the virtual assistants can help with.
Yeah, two of the key things that most new clients ask for. One is bookkeeping. So managing bills, receipts, doing invoicing, following up overdue debtors, like all the stuff that a business owner really doesn't need to do themselves, and they shouldn't be. Payroll, like all of that financial stuff in the background for someone, absolutely key. Another key area is the general administration or the executive assistant type role, which typically, you know, they would be next to someone in an office and, you know, following them up on their tasks and what they need to do and, you know, being a personal assistant. However, that's completely able to be replicated in a remote sense, where you just have to use some technology tools and joint to-do lists, and you know, with access to Office 365 or G Suite, we can plug into accessing someone's inbox, and we can manage, sort, sift through, answer, deal with, you know, put into folders, anything that can help a business owner in terms of managing their inbox, because we all know that inboxes are completely out of control and quite hard to manage. And scheduling appointments, managing, maybe there's like an info or a support or admin inbox where they get website inquiries, they can be answered and dealt with. Anything that doesn't require the business owner to be selling or delivering a service. All that other stuff that a business owner would do, that's the stuff to hand over to.
This is why they're so key as well at the end of the day, because the business owners need to be thinking about that, thinking about how the money's coming in the door and going out and meeting the clients and doing the face-to-face, and having some of those kind of tasks done in the background is obviously really, really key. Hayley, we're going to forgive you this time, sleeping baby. We'll go with that. It's all good. It's all good. So talking about Strictly Savvy as your business, how do you currently market? Are you getting most of your are you getting most of your clients from like word of mouth, or is it you're big on social media, or is it LinkedIn, for example, or are you running some sort of paid campaign? Like, how do you currently get it, and potentially how has the marketing actually changed for you guys as well?
Yeah, I love marketing, and so this is my jam. And I really focus on it and really put a lot of effort into looking really good in terms of our online presence. So one of our key ways to get leads is through just having a really awesome website and ranking really highly for Virtual Assistant New Zealand. So we get a lot of leads just of people calling us because they've had a look at the websites across, you know, the top VAs. Our one stands out. We've got amazing video testimonials, lots of video blog content. You know, everything is on there that they would want to know, and so they give us a call. So that's a key way. The other way is through referrals, through team members. I've got 2 team members in BNI groups, so we get referrals through that.
Nice.
And we have quite a few coach consultant type clients, and so they're obviously coaching a lot of other businesses, and so there's often a conversation where, hey, you guys should use Strictly Savvy. We use them in our business. Like, they could help you with these things that they're sort of coaching them on. So referrals and our website are 2 key ways. Another key sort of strategy that we've got is doing a video content marketing strategy. So we're producing videos and putting them out on LinkedIn in a bit of a series, answering all sorts of questions and things that people want to know about virtual assistants. So those would probably be the 3 key ways.
Nice. Yeah, no, I have been seeing your the video content that you got going on as well. So it's all looking really good. And so video in general, like I keep going on about video at the moment because it is one of those things that is continuing to boom and it's continuing to do really well. And mainly because it does give you that real good kind of human to human interaction. And then at the same time, I feel as though it is going to continue just to get bigger and bigger and bigger as well, because, you know, we are all getting real confident with jumping in front of the camera now. And I feel as though there's going to be more, you know. So do you feel as though that the video itself is actually really helping with growing your business?
Absolutely, it is. So we don't really focus on posting on social media. We focus on producing video content and putting it everywhere, but really focusing it in on LinkedIn. We know that most business owners, they're on LinkedIn. It's quite a thriving platform, and so we focus our energy in on that. But yeah, absolutely. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. If you can build that trust on a video, they just get to see you more. They just know you, that you're top of mind. Yeah, it's very, very good strategy.
Nice. Yeah, no, definitely. Because you're the same, Ryan, with LinkedIn especially, yeah?
Yeah, and I was just going to say the same thing. I think when you're doing that lead generation stuff with video, for me, obviously in real estate, it's phenomenal because I'm never having cold call conversations anymore. My face is out there. My personality is the same as it is now. If I turned up at your front door, people know you. They know what you're about. They know your interests, and they feel comfortable with you before they've even met you. And you're doing all of that hard work with your lead capture straight off the bat. It's all out the window. A lot of their objections are going to be answered by seeing your face, and you're away. When you're actually talking to these people, you're having these conversations about engaging in business and how you can help them and what you can do for each other. And I think it's awesome. And LinkedIn is really, really good for that. And I think particularly for your industry, Jo, but I'm even finding for mine, for real estate as well. LinkedIn, Jordan and I in our little We Eat Social for lunch, things we do here in New Plymouth, little workshops, we drum on about LinkedIn all of the time, but it's somewhere that you've got to be. And if you can be there with video, you're winning.
Yeah, absolutely. We find that too. Oh, sorry, Jordan. We find that too with the, now when we're having conversations with leads, they already taken 2 steps forward in the sales process because we've answered their questions. They know exactly what tools they want to use. They know that WhatsApp, I want to get WhatsApp because then that's a really good way to communicate because we've already taught them that. Like they watch all the videos already down the sales process, and then we're just pretty much like handing over our terms of engagement and getting started.
Yeah, exactly. And I think going back on 2 of those points there. So the first one being obviously the video and the communication you can have across a video, it kind of turns that cold lead into a warm one, which is obviously a really good start because then it kind of breaks that ice and starts that introduction. And then, like you say, Jo, you kind of I get some questions every now and then about how much content should you be giving away for free, and should you be chucking out online as much as possible? And the thing is, the way I see it, and obviously the way you do as well, is you're actually educating the users and your potential buyers to actually then say, hold on, well, I know all of these things, that's all good, and I kind of know the products that this business can help me with, so it's now kind of time to get in touch and kind of they can just piece it all together and kind of then start working from there. So I do think all those kind of tactics can just be so much easier than as you say, Ryan, picking up a phone and doing a cold call, flicking through the white pages and giving it a nudge. But it's just so much easier.
Yeah,
and I guess we're gonna find that as well as this all continues. Like this is as we've said, this is kind of like the new normal, and this is going to be the way we're going to kind of do business, and so getting used to, I guess, standing in front of a camera like we are here and talking to cameras. I think that's probably going to be one of the ways we're going to have to go.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I actually think the lockdown has done is it's advanced everyone in terms of technology uptake and use and getting comfortable with it, like by 2 to 5 years. Because if we hadn't been forced to do it, people would still be, trying to work out how to use Zoom in, a couple of years' time because they might be forced to then. But I think it's really jumped us forward.
Yep, that's true, and it's kind of like a bit of a reset button, isn't it? It's kind of that it's forced for even businesses to kind of have a look at how they're operating and how they communicate with their customers, and essentially forcing them to have a think about, is there a better way for me to be actually to do this? Is there a tool that's available? Like there's so many awesome tools for communication these days, like even building, like I've built a couple of those chatbots and stuff like that. And that can just be a great way of even just answering the first few questions of a chat sequence on your Facebook page. And it saves you from having to always be on your phone and always looking down at, your phone pinging and stuff like that. So there's so many tools and so much support out there for businesses. I guess one of the struggles is being exposed to those different tools that are available, and then actually learning and figuring out how to get the support to actually implement it into your business. But I think that's going to be one of the things that businesses are going to do. They're going to kind of adapt and kind of start looking for some of those solutions just to do things better.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've just been forced to. And the other thing that people have been forced to do is to look at their expenses and figure out, and lean their business down and just, change the model, change how they're doing things. It's been awesome for that too.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Really, really interesting point of view. just to get another business side of things, especially with your change, I guess, because obviously you made some big changes to your business coming into the lockdown. So it's really interesting and good to hear that you've been able to kind of work through that and continue to keep your staff going and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key things that I decided early on was to be really transparent with my team. So we did some forecasting and we showed them the last 3 months profit and loss and the forecast. And we actually worked with them to figure out what reduction in hours and salary did we need to make temporarily. And because they saw the whole picture, they were totally on board. The conversations were really open, and they were really willing to work with me and move the business forward. And they didn't have that anxiousness of the unknown. I think I've been too many business owners who are just not letting their team know where they're at, where the financials are at, what's happening with the business, and there's just all this anxiousness around that unknown. So business owners who are watching, just be really transparent. And I know that there's a fear around but my team will know how much I get paid and all that stuff, but them knowing where the business is at, you'll just find that they will be so much more on board and just really willing to dig in, do whatever it takes to turn the business around if you're struggling at this time. So
that's awesome. Really good advice. The one last thing I was going to ask as well is, obviously you work with quite a few different clients in quite a few different industries. Has there been any interesting stories you've heard of businesses that have adapted really well, for example, or adopted whole new strategies or anything like that?
Well, we do have a really cool story where one of our clients has clinical trial software, and they actually got a call from the White House saying, hey, I've heard about the software, and they have now been rolling it out all through the European hospitals and all through the US hospitals, so they can figure out what's working in terms of treatments for COVID. So that was pretty cool, and pretty cool that a New Zealand business can be on such a world stage. They've ramped up their hours with us and asking for more. So that's awesome. I think the physio did really well that we look after. They started doing video appointments, so talking people through what they can do in terms of exercises and stuff. And then the coaches and consultants that we've had, many of them had already been set up as providers under the regional partners network throughout New Zealand, where I think, did you hear about the 25 million that the government put extra into that? So people have been able to get professional advice through coaches and consultants and accountants and stuff. So some of our clients were already registered with that, so that's been awesome for them, and obviously great for us because that means more work. And some consultants that we've got on the books, they are currently waiting for their application to get processed so that they can help people as well. So some really cool things with enough of the businesses that we were looking after already that they can increase their hours with us, which really helped with our big drop in revenue for April. So
so cool as well, that example around the physio. That's something that is such an industry that you would assume would be really struggling, but obviously the little change in the business and just thinking, okay, well, how can we just keep going for a little bit and keep kind of keeping the clients top of mind and the clients and the customers happy, and because obviously health and everything like that, it's pretty important. So being able to jump on a Zoom call with a physio or something like that to learn, okay, these are some exercises you could be doing right now to help your particular problem, instead of those people jumping on YouTube and trying to guesstimate what they should be doing to fix themselves. It's so much better. So it's an amazing service.
So definitely I see a lot of businesses doing that pivot. Some won't, and they weren't ready or in the right mindset, but there's plenty of people who have definitely pivoted. And it's amazing how creative people have been to actually be able to deliver a face-to-face service over Zoom and online deliveries and stuff, which I'm sure all the stores are really keen for Tuesday to come around so they can start sending out all of their orders. So yeah,
Yep.
it's exciting.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I think it is going to be an interesting day on Tuesday. I think online is going to be busy, and I think businesses kind of need to be prepared and thinking about there is going to be a sudden influx of messaging being thrown at consumers. And it's going to be trying to think about how some of the messaging that you've got yourself and your business has got, how is that going to get through and kind of cut through some of the other clutter. So it's going to be a really interesting transition from Tuesday, I'd say.
Absolutely. And then, is it going to be a couple of weeks? And that unknown, I think once we get an idea of when it's going to go to level 2, we'll see another jump in, activity and businesses getting a bit more confident and stuff. So, yeah. No,
very true. We're definitely in for a few waves, I'd say. The first wave kind of hitting on Tuesday, then the next potential wave, what is it, around May 11th, when they're guessing that we'll drop down to level 2, and then obviously at that stage, that's when restaurants and more services where human contact is kind of needed is obviously going to be starting again, and then obviously back to the new normal after that. So I still think there's a good 3 waves until we can kind of get over this. So I guess like you said, we're just going to kind of be prepared for all 3 and think, how can we adapt and how can we make sure that we're keeping top of mind with all the changes that are just going to be thrown at us over the next month or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen. So I also have a Savvy School, which is an online school for virtual assistants all around the world. And so I've seen a huge uptake in the digital products that I have on there for people wanting to become a virtual assistant. They've lost their job, like say in the US, and they're looking to get trained up and start something where they can earn from home, because, they don't know how long it's going to take for coronavirus to disappear, or, if it's going to. And so they're looking for other ways that they can earn money and not have to leave home. So yeah, I'm seeing a huge uptake in digital products and online learning.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
It's impressive.
Look, that's been a really interesting and a really good chat. Thank you so much for joining us, Jo. We have been prattling on now for just over half an hour. It goes fast.
It does. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's like I said at the start, and Ryan, you'll probably agree, it's just really interesting to hear other perspectives. And I think one of the interesting things for us is we've been trying to talk with and learn from businesses that are not just within our province as well. Like and that first happened probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago when Ryan and I spoke to someone down in Queenstown and just heard how different it was for them down there, being in a tourist mecca compared to other regions. So it's really interesting to kind of get a perspective on how it's affecting different businesses in different regions, and just put that perspective. And that's one of the perspectives I think that people need to remember when they're marketing, when they're talking to customers too. Everyone's in a different boat. Everyone's affected in some way, but we're all in a different boat somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good.
But thank you so much, Ryan. Thanks for coming along, and all the best for next week, entering back into level 3.
Into level 3, yes. Yeah. I'm sure it'll go fine.
Yeah, definitely. And Jo, all the best with with the business and those transitions as we've spoken about, heading back into the next few waves.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you're able to get something out of it. And I think it's been a really interesting chat. So again, thanks to Jo from Strictly Savvy. You can, as she mentioned before, she gets a lot of her referrals from Google. So just chuck Strictly Savvy into Google, and you're going to be able to find her website from there. Otherwise, I know she's linked in on the chat below these videos as well, so you can find them there as well. So thank you so much, guys. Have yourself an awesome day, and we will chat again soon.
Cool. See you guys.